Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another broadcast. You guys are listening to music that you guys put together the other day on our broadcast on AI. It's a short one. Here's another one. Hope you guys are doing well today. Today is Tuesday, February the 18th, 2025. We're going to cover a little bit of news and we're going to get to our main topic. Let's just get something. So there we go. We're going to get to our main topic tonight, which is, can AI be used to fact check preachers and online Bible teachers? And yeah, I'm going to walk you through it and just tell you the short answer is yes, it can. So if you fall in either one of those categories, oh man, you better watch yourself. You better check yourself, because you're going to get checked. People are going to start checking you out, and you ain't going to be able to hide behind the Spirit told me. We're going to touch on some news, some different news items, just a few of them, just a few. And of course, there's always a lot going. We're just going to reach out there and grab a few of them, and that's it. We're also going to tell you about this. We're going to tell you about something that we just came across, and we're going to be offering to you guys, and just going to give people about another 30 seconds, and we're going to get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you again for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys being here. Hope you had a wonderful day. Today's high here out in Arizona, southern Arizona. We reached in the mid 70s, I think, in the mid 70s. So it was warm. It was warm. It was nice out there too. And, I'm just enjoying the warm weather. I'm enjoying living in a climate where it is warm is always the thing, like always the thing. I do not miss the snow at all. I mean, I like to see it every now and then, but nope, don't miss it at all. Don't miss it at all. And just enjoying, being out here. And for those of you who are not, I hope you're enjoying where you are too. And so as you know, a lot of things have been going on in the media. In politics, as you know, they're still cleaning house. Like I always say, they're cleaning house, making room for whatever the next thing is. And the next thing is a lot bigger than these scare tactics people are putting out that, they hate black people. They're going to get rid of black people. They're going to throw black people back in slavery and all that. That ain't in the cards. OK, that's not in the cards. The reality is that the next thing that is coming is really staring us in our face, and that is total replacement. With all these robots that are out, that are coming out right now. I was just literally looking at every day. I've been kind of tracking this stuff in the development of robotics and just in the industry. And when I tell you these people are moving fast, I mean, we're talking about AI like creating pictures and creating music and stuff like that. But the other part of AI is robotics. And these robots, bro, let me tell you something. Manufacturing as we know it is it's right now going through a very radical change here in the West. Now back in the East, in places like Japan or China or whatever, they are already slowly adapting. But here in the West, well, this is kind of a brand new thing for us, and it's going to be quite interesting to see. I mean, if you want a point of reference, I would suggest go look at the movie I, Robot. Remember, this scene with Will Smith. He goes home to his grandmother's house, and she is saying, he walks in. Why am I clipping my nails while I'm talking to y'all? Anyway, he goes to his grandmother's house, and she says, "Oh, you want some pie?" And he's like, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, Grandma, this thing tastes good," and all of that. And you really put your foot in this one. She was like, "I'm glad you like it, because it wasn't me. It was my new robot friend, and we just been cooking up a storm, and a robot, he in there just and cutting his eye or whatever." We are a lot closer to that reality than you actually believe or think, because they're already talking about once these companies start adapting to using these devices, the next step is to mass produce them for people. And when I say mass production, I'm talking about the tens of thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands. They're going to push this stuff out just at breakneck speed. I'm telling you, I'm listening to these industry leaders, and they're saying this, and I'm talking within 5 years. So, this is the kind of things that we're dealing with right now that's out here. And, and people are going to have to learn to adjust and adjust quickly. And so, yeah, I've been looking at things like that and other stuff. So anyway, before we get started here, like I said, tonight in this broadcast, we're going to look at the news, just a few things. That's all. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but we're just going to look at the news. But and then we're going to talk about this main topic. Can AI be used to fact check preachers and online Bible teachers? Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. But first, I want to talk about this here. Now, one thing I did not know, I didn't know when we moved out here, was Arizona is known for its citrus production. I had no idea. I was like, we're in the desert. How are you growing anything out here? But apparently citrus farming has been a thing out here in California, out here in Arizona for many, 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 many years. And to the point where, depending on what part of town you go to or whatever, you will find that people have abundance of citrus trees in front of their house. And I mean, I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize it was like this. I'm talking about big tree just full of grapefruit, full of different fruits and stuff like that. Citrus. You got pink grapefruit, and then you got the regular yellow grapefruit, and and then this one I'm holding right now, this is a tangerine. And so we've been, we were getting it for our family, and, we would just juice them up or whatever, or eat them or whatever. And of course it tastes great. And the great thing I like about it is, for many of these, they have seeds in it. They're full of seeds. And the people that grow them, they're not spraying them or anything like that. They just let them grow. And which we love, because I guarantee you, it's very hard for many people to go to the grocery store to get fruit that does have seed in it. So we were so elated to be able to come across this. So we were just getting it for ourselves, right? And then we had, I showcased it one time on one of our lives, and I'm gonna cut this one open here. And people were asking, hey, can you think about selling one of these, selling some citrus or whatever? And we were like, no, I don't know, because we didn't know how long, the season was going to last. I wish I can really zoom in. You could see it, but yeah, there's seeds all in here. And yeah, I just juiced this thing. Boy, let me tell you something. It was good. It was good. And so we were able to get together, connect with local growers right around us. And we was able to get a lot of them. So yes, we will be selling these. We're going to create these citrus boxes. So if you're on the email list of sambatree.com, if you're on that email list, be on the lookout for an email that's going to go out, and we'll tell you all about it. Don't worry, we're not going to be overcharging folk. We ain't trying to put 18 children through college, and I ain't trying to get a Lamborghini. It ain't like that at all, because we just want to get this out. You know, it's a perishable item, so we got to get this stuff out. And I'm gonna be picking some more tomorrow. My wife and my daughter just, was it yesterday or the day before, they actually picked them themselves. I'm telling you how fresh it is. Some of these people, I just, contact them and say, and they ask how many bags you want. I'm like, okay, I want 3, 4, 5 or whatever. And they say, okay, I'm glad you let me know now so I can go out there and pick them for you. So by the time you come by, they're already ready. So when I tell you these things are freshly picked, I'm telling you the truth. They're freshly picked, and boy, they taste wonderful. And so let me see if I can pull up a picture, because this is going to go out in the email tomorrow that we're going to have go out here. One of the images here. Let's see here. Let's go. Let me see if I can get this image out here. Hold on. Of course I can't. Boy, open with Premiere. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Never mind. Shoot. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this again. Hold on. Okay. All right. Here we go. I took these pictures yesterday. There we go. I got it now. Here we go. Here's one of them right here. Yeah. Pink grapefruit, and you can't really see, but yeah, there are seeds in them. And like I just showed you, we got some oranges. And if you mess with me, I can probably get some lemons too or whatever. So, we're at the tail end of the season right now. So, yeah, so make sure that you're on the email list, and because we'll let you know all the details on that. These are citrus boxes we're going to have go out, freshly picked citrus. And so just be on the lookout for that. I just wanted to let you know about that. OK, again, the website is sambatree.com. And make sure you check out the website every now and then, because we do change the header. And so for this week, this is our header. Don't you like? I love it. So this is our header for this week. And then we'll be changing it out every so often. We'll be changing it out. So again, the website is sambatree.com. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. And let's talk about some things here. Let's see what's going on in the news. Well, I don't know if you had a chance to hear Trump. He was just going over the amount of waste, that they are digging up. I mean, it's something here. So let me play for you this clip in case you haven't heard it. This is Trump. He's just talking about the amount of waste that Doge is actually uncovering. And it's really something. And so while y'all listening to that, I'm gonna try to eat a piece of this fruit here. Let me get this up here, and let's take a listen to Trump as he goes through just a partial part of this list here. Let's go ahead and play that video.
Where's the money being spent, right? Let's go into that for just a second. $520 million for a consultant on the environment. It's called Environmental, Social, and Governance Investments in Africa, and mobilize private sector resources. $520 million. Somebody got $520 million for an environmental, sounds like an environmental study. I've always been one that paid a lot of money for my environmental studies, but I paid like $50,000, not $520 million. $520 million. For ESG, $25 million to promote biodiversity conservation and promote licit livelihoods by developing socially responsible behavior in the country of Colombia. Well, it's nice, $25 million to go into Colombia for something that nobody ever heard of. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. $40 million. $42 million for Johns Hopkins, great place, to research and drive social and behavior change in Uganda. $42 million. What about us? What about social change in our country. $70 million for a center at Purdue to research university-sourced, evidence-based solutions to developmental challenges. I mean, these are massive numbers on things that nobody ever heard about. $10 million for Mozambique voluntary medical male circumcisions. $10 million for circumcisions in another country. $9.7 million for UC Berkeley to develop a cohort of Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills. In other words, let's teach them something about enterprise. What about our people? Can't we teach them about enterprise? $2.3 million for strengthening independent voices in Cambodia. $32 million to the Prague Civil Society Center, which is a very liberal group of people. Wonder how much of that money came back to the people that approved it. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, including $22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova, and $21 million for voter turnout in India. Well, why are we giving $21 million to India? They got a lot of money. They're one of the highest taxing countries in the world in terms of us. We can hardly get in there because their tariffs are so high. I have a lot of respect for India. I have a lot of respect for the Prime Minister. He just left, as you know, 2 days ago. But we're giving $21 million for voter turnout. It's voter turnout in India. What about, like, voter turnout here? Oh, we've done that, I guess. We did $500 million, didn't we? It's called the lockboxes. $20 million for fiscal federalism in Nepal. Listen to these numbers. This is all fraud. $19 million for biodiversity conservation in Nepal. $1.5 million for voter confidence. We want to give them confidence in Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $2.5 million for inclusive democracies in South Africa. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. Asia's doing very well. They're doing a lot better than we do in the schools, aren't they? $2 million to develop sustainable recycling models to increase socioeconomic cohesion among marginalized communities in Kosovo and Eskali and in Egypt. We're talking about.
So, that's just a short list. If you're, on Twitter, there's several profiles, channels, whatever you want to call them, where they are actually been tracing this, really on this thing. I mean, you want to talk about receipt after receipt after receipt after receipt is all being put out. And the thing I really like about all of this that's happening right now, like I said, again, I could care less if it was happening under a Democrat or a Republican president. In fact, it did, to a certain measure, happen under a couple of Democrat presidents. Obama, I have a clip of that, and also Clinton, going back as far as Clinton. He did something to an effect of, saying that we're going to cut wasteful spending. But, when they did it, it was very broad brush, very generic. And, but this level of details that we're getting now on what exactly is being cut, what exactly, what are these things going for? I mean, what was it? What country was it? It was some country in Africa. They're sending millions of dollars over there to encourage the men to get circumcised. Now, let me ask you something. Now, we've done a couple of videos on this, and some of y'all have seen that. We talk about circumcision and the history of it and all this other stuff. And I've even butted heads with some people who are on the continent that says that, hey, this is our practice, and how dare you speak out against our practice? This is something that we have been passed down from generation to generation, and this is something our tribe has done and all this other stuff. And in the video, I actually, we look at the historicity of it, coming from the Bible, of course, and the culture, the Jewish culture that, that still adheres to that. But we didn't stop there. We also broaden it out as wide as we could to see and look at these different cultures. And we looked at a couple of cultures in Africa. We looked at that as well. One of the things we discovered was that in, I believe it's in South Africa, the rate of young men who get circumcised that have to be, who are permanently disfigured because of circumcision, it's extremely high. I mean, you have to watch the video to get the details on that, but it's extremely high. That's something that you don't hear people talk about that often. You hear people oftentimes when they talk about genital mutilation, it's usually referring to what they do to young women, right? But nobody really talks a whole lot about the mutilation that takes place with men, young boys that get circumcised. And let me tell you something, circumcision is genital mutilation. It is mutilation. We looked at the sciences of it behind that and what happens to the brain of young men when they get circumcised, and we talked about how, there's children that some boys, I played you one example of a boy getting circumcised. You didn't see it, but you heard the scream. You'll never forget that. And there's some nurses have said that when a young boy is getting circumcised, you don't hear anything. It's like they're just very calm. And the nurses are like, oh, he's just such a good boy. Oh, he's handling this so good. Oh man, he's a tough guy, while he's getting his stuff cut. Well, that's not him being calm per se. No, that's called shock. And when you're shocking little children at that age, when you're mutilating them like that, you are damaging them up here for life. And there's many examples of this. Even in this country, they don't even track the amount of mutilation. In other words, the damage is beyond repair of little boys who have been permanently damaged because of circumcision. Oh, I can go on for a long time on this. And we've actually, like I said, again, I got a part 1 and part 2 video on this on our, long form history channel. So you could check it out over there. But here's my point. I went out a little bit here, but for my African people, all right, people on the continent who are very adamant about circumcision, let me ask you something. If it's so revered and this is something that you must do and you got to hold on to it, why do you need American money to do it? Why do you need American money to encourage your men to do it if it's something that is so just ingrained in the culture and we got to do it? Why do you need American money to encourage people to do it? You understand? And so this is the kind of stuff that's coming out of these revelations, just receipt after receipt after receipt. And it's not just Democrats that are being exposed. It's Republicans too. There are Republicans that are getting exposed for having their hand in, all these little pet projects and stuff like that. So I'm all for it. I'm here for it. And it's just been really something to see. There was something else that came out too, where they talked about the, the Social Security. You got people 100, 150, 200, 250, almost 300 years old that are still getting Social Security checks. How is that even possible? At the tune of billions and billions of dollars are going to people that have been long dead. They're still getting money. And where I think this is kind of going, quite honestly, I kind of don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if the IRS gets paused. Don't be surprised. And then we move to something like a flat tax. Don't be surprised if that happens. And that would be really interesting. But because there's too much, they're going through department after department after department, and they're finding this gross amount of corruption and billions of dollars that are just going all over the place. And I just read just now before I came here on air, I just read the head of USPS. He just stepped down. And then earlier today, it was a head of another department. They just stepped down because they see what's happening. See, again, we've talked about this. A lot of these federal employees have been in place for decades. They've been there for years and years and years. And they've already put out there, I shall not be moved. Everything's going to stay exactly how it is. And it's going to stay like that. Just like we found out last week about retirement paperwork being held up. They're storing it in a mountain in Pennsylvania somewhere. And then you got to ride a little tricycle to get to the manila envelope to unbutton it so that you can get the information that you got to write with a pen or a pencil and all this. They still doing that kind of stuff. So, yeah, all it is really something. And like I said, again, the other side of it, like I said, all this change and exposure, it ultimately leads to something else that's going to still try to keep us enslaved. So I'm not losing my sight on that as well. Here's a woman here. She's talking about it's another video I came across. She was talking about how the U.S. military, there's stuff that's getting exposed about the military and the special tax that they are taxed, and where that money is. Where is that money going? So let's listen to what she has to say.
Hi, I just wanted to comment on a story that I think I needed to share with you, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way that I do. But our U.S. military is taking about $460 per pay period out of the checks of most soldiers that live in barracks. This is what they call a BAS allowance that pays for food. Now, they just found in an audit, military.com found this out, that of all of the bases, that very little of the money is actually going to feed soldiers or to have food available to them. Now, you have a soldier that makes $30,000 a year, and they're taking $461 a month out of their paychecks to pay for food, but the food is not there. As a matter of fact, at Fort Stewart in Georgia, they collected $17 million from soldiers last year. And of that $17 million, only $2.1 million was spent on food. Now, the problem is when military.com went to investigate and to ask where the money went, of course, no one's available and no one can answer the questions. But anyway, this is not money that's coming from the Department of Defense or anywhere else. This is money that's coming straight out of our military personnel's checks, their monthly checks. And then somebody is doing something with it. And no one even knows who it is, and no one knows what it is. Now, what I'm going to ask, and I really hope that our new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, I pray that he gets to the bottom of this and find out who is taking money from these young men and women who are in the military. This money is taken out of their checks. You can imagine if you only make $30,000 a year, you can imagine $461 a month taken out of your check. That's as much as a car note. And then they said that they can't even find food. Many of them have like kiosks on bases where they have prepared food already, where they can pick up little snacks and everything. But if they're taking $461 out of their checks, our military, they need hot meals 3 times a day. They need snacks and everything. That's a lot to take out of the checks of young, newly enlisted people in our military. And that's something that everyone should be concerned about. This information came from military.com, and this is something that we all should ask. Our new Secretary of Defense, please fix this. This is not fair to these young men, and we hope that somebody can get to the bottom of it. You know what has happened throughout our government is they have created a culture of everybody spending money that is not theirs. And they do it like it is absolutely nothing. If you take $461 out of the checks of someone that's enlisted in our military, every dime of it should go to feed them. The money should not go like somewhere up in space somewhere. True. No one even knows where the money is. When we're talking about, we have one base that only 87% of the funds for their food is diverted elsewhere. Where is elsewhere? Where is this? Where is this other place that nobody knows about? Anyway, if you have people in the military, you might want to check on that, especially for the young enlisted people. You might want to check in on that. And also, please go to and make sure that you follow Secretary of Defense heads it and ask him, make sure that someone audits all of these bases and make sure that they have enough food for our military enlisted people to be treated fairly, and that the money that they take out of their checks to feed them is used 100% to feed them. There's no such thing as it being diverted for anything else, because everything else within that is coming from the Department of Defense to pay for everything else, to pay for the workers that work in their cafeterias and all of that. We want our military to be treated fairly. Anyway, if you
and the thing is, why are they getting taxed anyway? I mean, these are individuals that are literally, if the whistle gets blown and you got to go to war, they're going to be the first line to go to war to defend this country. And why are they getting taxed? If anything, there should be some kind of thing where they can avoid that. But here you got more money being taken from these individuals, and it's going into outer space, like she said, somewhere, anywhere, but it's not going to the families, these actual soldiers. It's not going to them. And like I said, it's just, this is a time of exposure. Let me go ahead and move on and see what else I have here. I'm just scrolling through. Let's see. Oh, yeah, here's one here. This is the head of OSHA, OSHA. His name is Ross Yeager. Well, guess where they found him? Guess what he was up to? It went OSHA business. I'll just put it that way. Take a listen to this.
Did Sorgen see your penis at all?
No.
Okay. So, no. And I understand. I fully understand. But obviously, in this case, whatever happened has already happened, all right? It's about...
Well, no, it's a police...
Yeah, did your... How's it going, sir? We're just having a conversation here with Ross. He's the head of OSHA over 5 states for the federal government. Basically, you're not going to talk to a 13-year-old again, are you?
No.
Last time doing it?
Yeah, everything's deactivated and done.
Okay, and you're not going to send a penis picture to one again, are you?
No.
Okay. And there's going to be no mishaps that happen.
Did
like
my wife call?
There's going to be... You're not going to send a penis pic to one again, are you? This last time doing something like this? Okay.
All right. Well, you get the idea. These sickos are all getting exposed. And like I said, again, I'm all here for it. And the thing that really gets, I mean, for people out here that are screaming and hollering and saying that we should, no, y'all got to be quiet. We got to leave this stuff alone. And, and I'm sitting up here like, what are you saying? I mean, literally the very things that have been keeping people in bondage, I'm talking about financially and economically and all of that, we're getting to the root cause. And like I said, again, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican or not. I'm hearing people from both sides saying, you know what? This is what I've been waiting for. This is what I want to see. You know what I mean? And I'm just glad that I'm around to see this thing. Now I got a whole bunch of things here. We have if you're on the app Threema, THREMA, we do have a group there, Threema, where we pass along some information. And as I get time, I will post stuff on there as it relates to the, right? The jabbity jab, right? We there's information that I can't share here because, this is still the YouTube plantation and they don't like it when we start getting into those areas. But we are able to post a lot of stuff over there and it's just keeping you up to date on that. Well, long story short, I will say this. There are a lot more people that are dropping. There are a lot more people that are dropping. There are people that are more and more people are turning up with all these strange stuff, all these strange diseases and stuff. The things that we said earlier, before, when they first started talking about that thing, it's happening. And it's sad, because, and we had a couple of people post in the group. They just said that it was one person said that one of their friends just is gone. And then they said they had a relative that just passed. And, you know, so there are things that have been happening, you know, that it burns me up to see these bastard pastors that were out here pushing this thing. And they're not even saying a word about it. But they were the biggest mouths that were out here pushing this stuff. And, you know, all of them need to go jump in the lake as far as I'm concerned. Every last one of them, they need to go. Every last one. They do. And let me see if I have a couple more here. And then we're going to get to our topic here. Let's see. All right, I played you the Trump thing there. Let me go to... let's see. He was talking about this is Social Security. This is some stuff they found in some revelations that came out with Social Security. Let's take a quick look at this video here. Let's see. Let's listen to what he's saying here.
There was an Inspector General audit last year that showed over an 8-year period, the Social Security Administration made almost $72 billion in improper payments, a little less than 1% of payments in that time period. Now, the report also says that most of these improper payments were overpayments, not payments to deceased people or people who didn't qualify to receive these payments. At the same time, Jose, this effort by DOJ is to go through this agency like every other and try to weed out waste and fraud.
But don't touch Social Security. Don't touch it. No, please, Lord, don't touch it. They taking your information and they running with it. Oh, Lord, they taking it. All this stuff is coming out now. All of this stuff is coming out. It just burns you up, don't it? When you think about it. You pay years and years and years of Social Security, and then when you get of age, when it's like, okay, they're going to start doling it back, you know, you finally start getting your Social Security checks. It's like pence. It's like nothing. It's crazy. I'm here for it. All right, let me move on here. Let me see what else I have here. Have you guys been following this this whole story? Candace Owens been following the president of France and his wife, his so-called wife. I'm not going to go through all of it, but basically, listen, the receipts are just flowing. 2025, you know how in China they have the year of the cat and the year of the monkey and the year. This is the year of receipt. This has been the year of receipt, honey. This has been the year of receipt. This is Bridget. How you say it? Bridget Macron. Oh my goodness. They whipped this out. I say game, set, and match. Game, set, and match. And they didn't just pull this picture out of nowhere. You gotta, that's why I said go to her channel and watch it, because she pieces this stuff all together, and how they supposedly both met and all of that. Honey, listen, when you find out, when you follow the paper trail, it is, it ain't even Netflix. It's not Hulu. It ain't Temu. I mean, this is some musty, dusty, stank, nasty, funky, just wicked horror show. I mean, everybody could look at this so-called woman and see that ain't all shoulders all big up and all of that, and just as straight as I don't know what. I was like, come on now, come on. You know, sometimes my wife, she was, you know, if we're somewhere or we're watching something, you know, or my daughter, if I'm with, they'll say, you know, that was a man, or, you know, that was a man, right? And I'll be like, oh snap, I didn't, you know. Because I don't be studying people like that too often, but, you know, I came across, you know, there's been some you can't even tell. That's why I said, for our single men out here, man, I feel for you. There's got to be a standardized test for y'all, you know, out here, because, I mean, it's, yeah, you don't want to be. Anyway, I'm just saying, I feel for these brothers out here, but oh my goodness. Yeah, it all came out. Anyway, let me move on here. I'm trying to move quickly here, and we're going to get to our main topic here in a moment. I just want to hit some of the highlighted news items that have been coming out here. I'm going to stay right on that topic here. This is I want you to listen to how these, talking about these trannies, how they just, it's just funny to me how these guys, they really, really like believe their stuff. And I'm trying to find this doggone thing. I bookmarked it. Hold on. I literally bookmarked this thing. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Hold on for a second. What was his name? Oh shoot. I bookmarked. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I could pull it up here on my phone. I bookmarked this thing. And it ain't on here. Saying the devil did it. Anyway, let me see. Anyway, I have another one here. I can't think of this dude's name. Oh, you know what? I got his name here. Let me see if I can find this one he did. Anyway, he's sitting down. He's talking. He's doing these little debate things where he's, talking with these people who are trannies. And I just want you to listen to some of these people, man, and their logic. It's real. Oh, here it is. I found it. Hold on. How long is this one? Okay, yeah. Here we go. I want you to listen. Here we go. And I'm showing you this because this is who these black preachers, politicians, this is who they're out here defending. All right, so I want you to listen. Now, you heard how he just laid it out. There was no yelling, right? He just talking very plain, but just giving facts after facts after facts. That's it, right? Now, we're going to switch to how She-Man is out here, how they're going to respond to this. Your neck thicker than mine. Your neck thicker than mine. Where'd you get your wig from? Where'd you get the wig? Got the Hulk neck, trying to speak in this. Number one, that's a big lie because of many of these stories, and we can go through and we've talked about this many times before. If you go through it, there are many stories, many actual cases where she-men are going into these restrooms or they're chasing these little girls or chasing little boys or whatever. This is a real thing. So no, lie number one. So that what they do is they'll just throw out a bunch of pieces out there and then they'll just start elevating their voice and yelling and trying to out-talk you, but they don't want to stay in facts. And you find this you find this in a lot of groups that are very married to their own ideology. But let's continue to just children the truth. How dare you do anything like that? You are a walking clown show. Literally, a clown show. Literally a walking clown show. And the fact that you got people out here that are encouraging this stuff, I'm talking about in what your so-called churches, and we're going to get to the churches tonight, who are encouraging this stuff. They're encouraging this stuff. And these politicians, the ones out there, the 92%ers, waving their finger and talking about, yeah, we're going to do this and all of that. They encourage us. They were getting ready to vote for a president that was all in on this ideology. Now, as I've said many times before, listen, if you are a human being, I 100% want whatever protections that every human being should have, you should have it too. I don't care if you are the football player in the dress. I don't care. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not with going out and dehumanizing or, attacking people or whatever. That's what you want to do. That's what you do. But why do you always got to bring the children in the mix? Okay. If that's what you want to do, you want to play doll baby, you want to play dress up, you want to be in the, whatever it is, or the crib and, and goo goo gaga or whatever, and have someone breastfeed you and you 600 pounds and all this stuff. If that's what you want to do, that's your life, then live your life. But why do you have to bring children in the mix? That is my issue. And these people will not bring this up. They'll never bring this up. But anyway, let the insult started. Anytime when you're in a conversation like this, even when you're dealing with religious folks, you always know they have reached their end when they start insulting you. You never have to insult these people. Never. Just let them talk. And then when they see, and as long as you stay calm and you stay on the facts, they will always get to they know they can't get around. They can't get you into the emotional state. So because of that, they have to resort to insulting you. This happens all the time. Like I said, even when you're dealing with religious folks, it's the same thing. But the key is stay on the facts, and that's it. Here, y'all. This is the kind of clown show stuff that you have out here. And, you know, in the fact that you had these dusty men out here, and I'm, you know, like the Roland Martins of the world, he tried earlier in his career when he was at CNN, he tried to call it out a little bit, but they slapped his butt down. And now all of a sudden he's tap dancing for this agenda. Along with all these other boule black folks, they tap dance for this agenda. But I'm letting you know tonight that not all black men are standing for this, and not all black women stand for this stuff either. This is nonsense. This is crazy, and this is clownish, period. That's it. We will always respect on this platform. We will always respect people, the human portion of people. We always do that. Have no problem with that part of it. But like I said, again, when you get to this place where you want to enforce your ideology, your belief system on other people, I don't care if it's gender, I don't care if it's religion, I don't care about any of that. But when you get to a place where you feel like someone's got to accept who you are on that, no, they don't. You done crossed the line, period. That's it. You were born with what you have for a reason. And that's plain and simple. That's it. And the fact that that this particular group has a serious issue when it comes to little children, and the fact that people will not, I'm talking about from the pulpit to in Washington, D.C., we got all these people who will not call this stuff out for what it is when it comes to children being impacted by this. It's a shame. It's a whole shame. And you got states out here right now that are pissed off to the point what Trump is doing. They say, no. As for me and my house in this state, we're going to keep right on with the operations in getting these children, if they want to get these trans operations done to their body, we're going to continue to fund it. We don't care what the federal government is going to do. We're going to find the money to make sure that these children get these operations. We've done videos on that and followed it all the way through. We followed the science on this and what it does to your body. I've shown you pictures. I've been very detailed to the point I'm very graphic on that when I talk about that. Because, see, if we're going to have that conversation, see, I don't need to raise my voice and scream and talk you down, okay? All I'm doing is showing you receipts. I'm just showing you, okay, this is what y'all people saying. When you listen to these adults, unfortunately, as a child, you're surrounded by people who are like, hey, that's what you feel, then go on with it, you know. But then these children grow up, they get to a certain age, and they're like, dang, who told me you 6'4" and you got a pair of titties, you know, and you mad because ain't nothing you could do now. You could probably take those things off, but what if you get your thing cut off? Then what? Do you understand there are support groups out here for people who transitioned and now they really can't because what adults talk them into doing, they can't reverse it. They can't go back. When you go into the graphic details of what is being ripped out and taken out, you got women out here, and someone, we talked about this before. When you get an arm cut off or a limb cut off, there's this thing, it's a phenomenon where you still feel as if that limb is still there. Well, same thing with women. And when they get breasts removed, they go through this phenomenon where they feel like it's still there, right? These are real things that happen. That a lot of these people who push these agendas, they don't want to talk about the other side of that. They don't want to talk about the impact on these children and what's happening here. Leave the children out of it. You want to do that stuff, you go ahead, but just leave the children out of it. Anyway, let's move on here. We're going to get to our main topic here. got one more. Let me see if I had one more thing. If not, we'll just get to our main topic, because I told you we're going to talk about AI and what it does with because I saw someone leave a comment on that, and I wanted to address that too, and that's fine. Let me see if I had something else here. Let's see. I wanted to touch on that because we talk about Macron and his old scarecrow looking wife, man. Anyway, let's see. Let me see and make sure I covered everything here. Okay, make sure, let's go ahead and transition here. So make sure you check out our community page. I was doing a lot of work yesterday, and I will be continuing it later on tonight. The work never stops here on this end here. Let me go to here. Let's see, youtube.com. We're going to go to our community page, and there was a bunch of things that we did yesterday. Let me go here to our channel. We're going to go to post, and here we go right here. Just real quick, I'll just tell you about this, and then we get to our main topic right here, which is right here. All right, here we go. All right, so real quick here, I was finally able to, and I didn't know Instagram could do this, but I was able to create what we call the Baba Herbal Assistant. And basically, it's an AI assistant that you can ask in anything in regards to any health ailments that you may have, and you're looking for an herbal solution to those things. Now, check this out. We designed this in such a way where it's relying heavily on herbs that come out of Africa and the Caribbean. And it will also pull from herbs from other places as well. But there's a reason behind this stuff. There's a reason behind everything we do. The reason why I wanted to do this is because I really want us to be a forerunner in really trying to get our people to see the value of the things that we already have at our disposal. And in regards to health, there's no reason in the world why we are leading when it comes to health ailments in this country. There is absolutely no reason for that, especially when we have tapped into resources. We don't need a loan from the government. We don't need reparations for these things. These are things that we have access to right now. And that's the people who need the herbs. But you also got the farmers that grow this stuff. You got families out here that grow these things all the time. I talk to people in the Caribbean or whatever. They say, oh, yeah, the Caribbean, we have sour sop that just falls off the tree and it just sits there and it rots because, all this stuff. But meanwhile, I got somebody here in America or in another country that's dying of cancer. Do you understand what I'm saying? And they could use that, and they can also use those leaves as well. So by encouraging people to start looking and taking very seriously the herbs that come out of these areas, what we're doing is not only we're getting help, but the farmers and the growers that grow these things, they're getting helped as well. And this is one of the ways that we can use technology to bring things closer together, and we can actually, create our own solutions. I'm very big on that. So check that out. The link is there. You have to be on Instagram in order to access it, but you can pretty much ask it any question you wish regarding any health ailment, and it will point to those herbs from those areas first, but then it will expand the search even more, depending on what you're asking for. Okay, so there you go on that. Let's see. Another thing we noticed too is that we're seeing a lot of people have been doing searches on bronchitis, and bronchitis is it can be a serious thing if you don't treat it right or whatever. And so what we did is we did a post over on Sabbatry.com under blog. This link will take you right to it. And it's a very bullet pointed, straight to the point. If you or someone that's dealing with bronchitis, we got a link for you, and you could check it out. And it has all the information on there of different things that you can check out or get or whatever that can deal with that. Okay, so that's that. And then the other link that was just talking about the music that we created the other day on the blog. Okay, on the live that we did. Okay, let's move on here. The main thing that we're going to talk about here. So the first hour is news today. Now we're going to talk about this. Can AI be used to fact check preachers and Bible teachers that are online. Now, we know that there are a lot of people out here. You have the Bible. That's the text. That's the text that people who follow the Bible, right? This is the text that people use as their proof text. This is the absolute foundation and, of their belief. It's the root of what they believe. Their belief system and how the world was created and, everything else, it starts with that book. Okay. And so, but that's a book. That's a singular book. And attached to that book, there's a lot of history that unfortunately does not get touched on or discussed or talked about. There is there's a video that I would highly recommend. When I find it, I will put it on. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to waste time on that. But this is a video. It was an interview of a black man who was a pastor. Very, I think a lot of y'all would actually like that video, would like this interview. And he was talking about this. He said one thing about, how many of y'all who grew up in the church or maybe spent time in the church, you heard the pastor always saying, like referring to seminary as cemetery. You know what I'm saying? They'll say cemetery. And, and so what he was saying was this. He's saying how churches oftentimes will dissuade their followers, their members, from actually from intellectualism. And what do we mean by that? Basically, being a person encouraging, like on this platform, we always encourage people, hey, buy these books. They're not we're not telling you to buy it on our website or nothing like that. But here's some research. Here's some areas that you can go to get books, right? Here's some areas that you can go to, look at the archaeological studies or whatever, right? There's all kinds of resource points out there. And we encourage people all the time to do that, to go and you can look these things up for yourself, because the Bible is a singular book. And I saw someone say AI wasn't here from the beginning. Well, let me tell you something. The people who wrote the Bible, they weren't here from the beginning either. And we've discussed that at great length. The people who wrote the Bible, do you know that the New Testament was actually written well over 100 years before the Jesus that's mentioned in the Bible lived? So how can I write an accurate account of somebody from the 1800s? I'm in 2025. How am I going to write an accurate account of somebody, what they thought, what they believed, what they did, what time they got up, and it's 100 years later? And let's talk about the Old Testament. Same thing. The Old Testament, we've looked at the little pieces of paper and stuff that they wrote the entire books off of this stuff. So we've gone through a great deal, okay, of information on this. And this is all documented that anybody can look up on their own. All right. She said Moses was here before then, but did Moses exist? Aha. Okay. And how do you know that? Well, that's based on the Bible. Who wrote the Bible? Again, it's the whole circular thing. We've discussed that. Okay. So anyway, so there's a lot of things that are said by pastors that have been drilled into us, just like Shadrach and just like Meshach and just like Abednego, all of that. And, different stories that they reemphasize every Sunday over and over and over and over again. And then you got the people, in modern times here today on YouTube, these are Bible teachers, and these can be anyone from Christians to Hebrews or whatever, that make all types of claims on their own and their own personal interpretation of what they think or believe the scripture or scriptures are saying. Right. And it's always just, I believe this. And then if that don't work, then they can flip to something else. Well, sometimes you don't hear the spirit right, and sometimes you're hearing something else and all of that. And so it's a never ending cycle of just massive confusion and it comes down to your own impersonal interpretation of what you think this scripture says or that scripture says. I've been around long enough where I've heard people say that the promised land is anywhere from Africa to where modern day Israel is. Some people say it's somewhere else, and some people say it's in outer space, and some people say it's Atlantis. I mean, and they will take a singular scripture, and you get 5 people you in the room and say, interpret this scripture. You're going to get 80 different interpretations of it. And they're going to all say, well, it's according to what the Spirit says to me at this moment. They're going to always say that. This is why the internet is full of people who call themselves prophets, prophetesses, whatever. They call themselves these things, because what it does is it kind of gives them this air of, even if I mess up, just know that I am speaking from God, that kind of thing. And so again, when you look at the Bible, regardless of who you are, you can't the Bible isn't, when it's a book. Is it an accurate history book? It is not. It's not. It's a belief system that has been pieced and interwoven together by different belief systems that have taken place over the years. I know your pastor never taught you that. I know that you didn't get that from the church. I know they didn't teach you that, but it's true. Okay. And and so that's just the facts. And so what has been done by many people is that they've actually taken the time. They're going through the Bible, looked at story after story after story after story, and said, wait a minute. Now, this story sounds very familiar to a story that was written 1,000 years beforehand. I mean, down to the details and the characters. Or this story here that they're talking about, or this practice, well, this kind of find out this actually didn't start here in the Bible. It actually started somewhere else in this other, in this other area over here, Mesopotamia. They were doing this stuff, worshiping the calf and all of that. Wait a minute, that sounds like so-and-so, so-and-so. And they are finding not only ancient texts that's older than the Bible, but they also have archaeological tools, archaeological findings that support what they're finding here. And they're saying, wait a minute, this ain't adding up. The math ain't mathing. It's not mathing. I mean, if you say this happened at this site, then there should be evidence. You can't just, faith doesn't mean fact. You understand? And this is one of the things that I know for me, I was taught in the church, it was that faith can be fact. No, it's not. It's not. Not that faith is wrong. It's okay to have faith. We need to have faith, especially during this time that we're living in right now. But faith does not mean fact. I can have faith, and I'm gonna look at my account tonight, and it's gonna be $1 billion in there. I can have faith right now and say that. But if I look in there and there ain't $1 billion in there, then guess what? It ain't fact. It didn't materialize. It's not that. And no matter how many times I say it over and over again, it's not going to change the fact, period. Right? And so a lot of these pastors, a lot of these Bible teachers, one thing about religion, period, is that it gives the people who are teaching this stuff the ability to put out, to reinterpret or reimagine the Bible how they see fit according to the situation. It happens all the time. But we're in an age right now, as you're seeing, as we were talking about earlier. Like I said, the 2025 is the year of receipt, I think, because we're seeing it happening in the political world. But it's also happening right now. It's actually happening. It needs to start happening in the religious space as well. Do you remember that pastor the other day that we talked about who got up here and was saying that, he was telling his church that, we need to be out in the street, and there's going to be, we need the kingdom of God suffer violent, and the violent take it by force. And we're going to have to be violent in this age. And I know that makes some of y'all uncomfortable. You remember all of that? And then we took a look at his church. I'm like, his church, most of his church is over 50 something years old. What violence are you talking about? Huh? What are you talking about? What war? I ain't see hardly any men in the church. I saw mostly older women, a few older men, and single moms, that was it. But he's challenging people, talking about with Trump and all that's doing that. Hey, listen, the kingdom of God suffered violent. We're going to have to be violent out here in the streets. Well, enough people checked him on that rhetoric, because this is his interpretation. That was his interpretation at that moment. But see, when the heat caught him, all of a sudden he started changing tune. This is what religious people do all the time. Here's him. This is him right now.
Good evening. My name is Steve Caudle, and I'm the pastor of the Greater Second Missionary Baptist Church here in Chattanooga. Over the past 24 hours, there has been a great deal of social media activity concerning a sermon that I delivered on yesterday. A portion of the sermon was taken out, and it has gone viral. The first thing I would like to say to you is that I would hope that you would listen to the entire sermon, so that nothing that was said or is being said will be taken out of context. Now, I use as a key verse in that sermon the words of Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11 and verse 12. And let me read that to you. And it says, "From the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force." This is a reference to the spiritual warfare that is going on, that we as Christians believe and have preached for centuries. This is not new. We believe very strongly in a spiritual warfare. I in no way advocate, neither am I advocating violence of any kind. I'm simply talking about the violence that is spoken of in the scriptures in terms of a spiritual warfare. In the sermon, I went on to say that the victory has been won. The spiritual war has been won. And the war—
All right, so you get the pivot, but let's go back to what he actually said. And let me hold on. Let me go back here, because this is proving my point here. Now, this is him. This is the video that we talked about. Now, I want you to listen to what he actually said.
And in this nation, I'm worried that we are on the verge of bloodshed. This is an attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go, and we will not go. Therefore, there will be conflict. I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence. Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent and fight. Well, someone might say, now, Reverend, you shouldn't be talking about violence. This isn't the Christian thing to do. Well, I will say, why not talk this way? Because Jesus did. Jesus said in this key verse, didn't he? The kingdom of heaven suffers what? Violence. And the who? The violent take it by force. The kingdom of God is a war zone. It is a battlefield. You did know this, right?
You see? Now he pivoted and saying, well, I was talking spiritual. That was my interpretation. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And this pastor gives us a great example of what I'm saying is that what we're seeing right now, this whole shifting that's taking place with the technology that's out right now. All of these people now are on you're getting called out now, all of them. Let me explain to you. Let me just give you a scenario of something that literally can be done right now at this moment. Okay, let me just walk you through. I'm not going to pull up any websites and stuff like that, but just to get all in the weeds of programming and all that. But let me just explain to you what can happen. All right. So basically what can happen now is this. There are tools out there. Let's say if I was doing a video, just name anybody, whatever, doing a video, somebody's teaching out of the Bible. and they're making a bunch of claims based off of their interpretation of that scripture. It's their interpretation of that scripture, right? And they're stating it as if it's a fact. All right. Now, what you're able to do now is that I'm able, just like this video that you're watching right this second, me, when this video is over, every word I'm saying right now is being transcribed by YouTube. So if you ever want to say, well, did you say this? You can go back and scroll back, hit the transcribe button, and you'll be able to go right to when I said this actual thing, what I'm saying right now. All right. There are tools right now. It's easy and they're free, where you can extract the transcript of any video, any YouTube video. And then once you get the transcript of that video, you can post that in ChatGPT. It could be any Claude, Perplexity, whatever, platform. And you can say, listen, and I'm being very general here. I want you to cross-reference I want you to identify for me all the claims that were made by this preacher in this video. And I want you to, and then it will highlight all the claims. It will all itemize it for you. And then the next prompt, you can go back and say, all right, now I want you to cross-reference every claim that this preacher has made in this video with historical facts and archaeological information, the latest in archaeological information. And I want you to verify for me that this claim is accurate and correct. If it's accurate and correct, then put a check mark by it. If it's not, then it's not. Then you can put a red X by it. Do you know that within 10 minutes tops, that can be done by any one of you right now? You could do that with any video. There are people out here that, if you're coming out of the Hebrew space, that have made some very bad claims. There are people that have put out some books. You can take their book, if it's a PDF format, you can take the PDF format of their book. You can upload it to ChatGPT. It's any book. It don't matter. It's anybody's book. And you can actually interact with that book. You can interact, meaning that you can ask questions on what this book, let's say it's a book about building houses. Okay, let's just say it's a book about building houses. And you're interacting in real time with this book and asking it questions about houses. And it's going to use that data that it was extracted from that book as the data for the conversation. So anything you ask, it's going to say, I talked about this on page 223, the second paragraph down. This is exactly what I said on this or whatever. And then if it's something that, let's say, you don't agree with, and you got to state your case, then it'll open up the door and say, okay, well, let me check this and verify, if this is correct. And sometimes it will say, well, actually it does. Here are the sources of where this came from. This actually does make sense. Or it will say, you know what? You got a point. It will do that. So I could take any book that's been written by any Hebrew, any PDF that they put together, and in real time, I can upload it and I can cross-reference it with actual facts, historical facts, ancient texts, archaeological findings, whatever. And you can actually challenge to see if this is true or not. You could do this right now. This isn't future technology. This is now. You can do that. I can I could do this right now and give me a half a day and I could have that done. I can literally have it done. I was already thought it through and call it a preacher check or something like that. I don't know. Where you can literally, anything you want to ask of claims that have been made by preachers, by people online, you can go and actually verify what they're saying. You can verify stuff I'm saying and check and cross-reference and see if it's accurate or not. This is what I'm talking about. And see, there are people out here in the religious space who understand this and know this. And this is why they are the ones out here on one hand telling you, oh, AI is of the devil, it's the Antichrist and all of that. But at the same time, they'll spit out a video and say, well, guess what? I asked AI today about the end times, and they'll use it. See, they want to be the conduit. See, that's what preachers and Bible teachers, they always got to be the middleman. They always got to position themselves in the middle. So anything that comes out, they got to be the one in the middle. They got to be the interpreter for this. What I'm always encouraging you to do is you don't need an interpreter. You can find these things out for yourself. And what I also realize too is that you have people, there's two groups of people out there. One, people who really want the truth, no matter what, no matter how uncomfortable it's going to be, no matter how many changes they're going to have to make as an individual. You're going to have those people who are committed to the truth all the way, 100%. Then you got other people who aren't, they're just comfortable in that because this is what they've been raised on. They are afraid that deep inside, they are afraid to make any of changes to their belief system because they believe that somehow, oh, this is, I don't want to do that because, I don't know. They're scared. But see, this is where we are today. The technology that's out here right now can do that right this second. And I'm saying that anybody, people that are out here right now, and you can go through whatever, I ain't got to mention no names, I ain't got to do any of that. But people who specialize in reinterpreting Black history and trying to merge Black history and trying to merge other stuff with that, be it the Native American stuff and we were here for first and all of this, or the people out here that says that we ruled Egypt, we ruled Russia. That's what I meant to say. That whole Russian painting thing. You remember all of that? All these paintings are Black because they're the Russian. The Russians were really Black and they were trying to tell us something. That can be solved just like that. Just like that, just instantaneously, you can get the answer. Now, the question is, do you want to do that? Because, see, on this platform, we have spent countless number of hours doing videos, showing you all kind of source material, everything, encouraging you to read even more, offering over 200 books for free and saying, take them, use them, read for yourself. Don't take our word for it. Read them for yourself. We do this all the time. And like I said, you're going to have some people who are going to take that, investigate for themselves, and then other people who just ain't going to do it. They just want you to tell them what to believe. We're not going to tell people what to believe here. We're not going to do that. You've been told that all your life what to believe. It's okay to question things. It's okay to check and verify what these preachers and these pastors and these so-called Bible teachers and prophets and prophetesses are telling you. I just showed you this example again of that pastor. He's talking 100% blood in the street violent stuff. Then when he got checked, all of a sudden he's like, well, no, it's just that y'all misinterpreted it. You see how they can do that quick? They can change on a dime. Aren't you tired of that? Aren't you tired of someone telling you that all you got to do is pray and seek the face of God, and that all you got to do is when you do that, you're going to be able to lay hands on the sick and they shall recover? Aren't you tired of that? And when you do it, you do everything that they tell you to do, and it doesn't happen. And then when it doesn't happen, then they want to flip it again and say, well, maybe you had some sin in your life. Maybe you weren't following all the law, statutes, and commandments. Maybe you think you were this, but you ain't down there. You ain't up to that level yet. See, there's all kind of things that the Lord is trying to teach you in this and all this stuff. No, he said all you got to do is believe and you will do greater works. That's what he said. And people don't want to take that step and look at that. Aren't you tired of seeing people die? I mean, and if someone gives me a contract, if someone gives me something and says, this is it, this is the final authority. This is the final authority. This is what's supposed to happen, period. Stand on this thing. And you stand on that thing, and it does not come to pass the way it doesn't come to pass at all. Like I said this all the time. we hold Amazon to a much higher standard than we do the Bible. And people out here talk about the Bible, you better not touch the Bible, but you'll hold Amazon at a much higher standard. Let Amazon send you a package and it's broken up. What you going to do? Well, maybe it's me. Maybe it's something inside of me. Maybe I deserve this. And maybe Amazon's trying to teach me a deeper meaning of life by sending me this broken flashlight. And maybe the flashlight speaks of the light that's in me that's still broken, that needs to be adjusted. You ain't going to go through all them changes, honey, please. You going to be, Amazon, send this thing back because they ain't what I ordered. You ain't going to do that. You going to do that, aren't you? But when someone tells you, you lay hands on the sick, they shall recover, and it doesn't happen, what do? Well, maybe it's something I did, and maybe I wasn't fasting enough, and there was that one time I was looking at that R-rated movie I shouldn't have been looking at, and you just go through this never-ending cycle. Aren't you tired of that? So listen, let me be clear here. I'm not saying AI is the end-all to be-all. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is these are just simple tools that are out here now that are now, you have no excuse as an individual. If you want to know, the answers are out there. That's my point. If you really want to know, the answers are in fact out there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who do not want to know. They don't want to know. They don't, period. They want to stay comfortable in their delusion. I'm not mad at those people. If that's what you want, that's you. Take it. Keep it. But don't expect other people to, don't get mad when other people don't want to embrace your delusion. We're going to be kind, we're going to be nice, and we're going to encourage people to do your own real research. Be willing to ask the hard questions of yourself, but not only ask those hard questions, but challenge yourself. Would I be willing to adjust and make the necessary changes? Be willing to do those things. If you're not able to do those things, then stay where you are. Stay in your lane. It's simple as that. You don't have to name call anybody. You ain't got to shame anybody. That's you. But yeah, the short answer is this. This technology that's out here right now, it is in fact already set up to fact check every Bible teacher, every online preacher, Bible teacher, whatever you want to call it. It's already fully equipped to do that right now and to shut down a ton of arguments just like that. It's already set up. And so so what I'm saying, sit back and watch the people who are going to use it to check and verify versus the people who are going to say, oh no, that's the devil. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. I rebuke it. No. It's time. It's time for you to start going for the truth, period. It's time. Okay? Stop listening to these people that want to switch up interpretations and all of that. Many of you will stake your whole life on some of these things, and you still are trying to make it work and happen and all of that. I think about that guy, what's his name? Jamal Bryant. Like I said, I do not want to do any video on that dude because he's already in another world. This man can get on stage butt naked and those people will still defend him. But it shows me that he knows his people. He knows the people, he could do anything. Some people, they're just bought into the delusion. It's just what it is. But I'm just simply saying here, listen, there are tools out here that's making it even easier for you to find out the truth of a lot of these things that you've been told for a long time. And I know, especially, like I said, if you've been in that world, in that space for many years, I understand it's hard. It is challenging, and I understand it can be scary. I get it. But at the same time, you got to understand we're all waking up to some degree. And some of y'all going to get that, others are not. But yeah, we're going to do that. And that's something, like I said, for me, that's actually a project in the near future I'm going to be working on. I'm going to work on something along those lines like that, that's going to allow people, you can fact check these claims that are being made out here by people, and you take that information and you can do whatever with it. But we want to make sure that people are being steered the right way, in a factual and truthful way, so that you can make accurate choices and decisions for you, your life, your loved ones, and all of that. So, all right. So that's all I have for y'all this evening. We covered quite a bit. First hour was on the news, basically. And then this last half an hour or so, I just talked a little bit about AI and the capabilities right now that can be done. And if you are one of these people out here, you making all these claims and all of this stuff, I'm gonna tell you right now, you in for a rude awakening, because there are gonna be a lot of people out here. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be out here now using these tools to begin to start fact checking you. And once that happens, that's going to be really, really something. So anyway, that is all I have for you today. I'm trying to find my playlist here. Let me see. That is all I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this broadcast here. I hope you guys got something out of it today. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's all we have here. Thank you so much. You guys take care. And I'll see you next time on our next broadcast. You guys take care. Have a great evening.